Morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm General Pat Murphy, the commander of the New York National Guard. We just want to give you a little bit of an update this morning. I'll start out with what the National Guard is doing. The governor has again asked us to increase numbers, and so we will be continuing to grow our force over the next few days as we look at what is about to come and the response to follow any additional large amount of snow that we have. We have focused on a couple areas supporting the city of Buffalo. Again, we've got 6 loaders and about 20 dump trucks now working in the area with some skid loaders as well. And that is going on down in the Seneca Street area. As well as we focused on some health, life and safety issues where we've now picked up part of a mission to transport healthcare workers to make sure we get into, for instance, the Erie County facility or the Erie Medical Facility. And so where we've got nurses, for example, that can't make it into work, we're transporting through use of our military vehicles as well as partnering up with our law enforcement partners. Finally, we're also, you'll see a larger presence at the at throughways where we're continuing to monitor traffic that or restrict traffic flow where it needs to be so that the trucks and emergency response vehicles have complete access without further incident. So that's kind of an update from the National Guard side. I want to turn the podium over to the Commissioner of New York State Department of Transportation, Joan McDonald.
Thank you, General. Good morning, everybody. We made significant progress yesterday with the weather, breaking the weather. Several of our roads that were not passable are now passable. We are still urging people to not get out on the roads because that can hinder our cleanup. But right now we had crews, and I'll give you the numbers of people and equipment in a minute. But the folks that came from out of the region, they came to Batavia, and what we did was we had them hit the east-west roads. So as a result, yesterday, 6:16 this morning, Route 130, 2 lanes are open from Route 5 to Route 78, and we've got, that's in each direction. We've got 2 lanes from Route 78 out to Corfu. We've got routes 219 and 400, which are still closed. But once we open them, they are ready. Once the bad weather ends today and we reopen them, they are drivable. They are completely cleared. Route 20, south of the city, is passable in both directions. Again, we were able to do all of that yesterday because of the break in the weather, and we don't want to lose ground, which is why people need to stay off the roads today. As far as numbers, we have 1,300 people from across the state, over 880 pieces of equipment, including 460 plows, 129 loaders, 70 blowers, and dump trucks. Our contractors are assisting us. We have 100 pieces of equipment, both loaders and dump trucks and payloaders to help get the snow off the roads. And that is our first priority, to make sure we continue to make progress, coordinating with the local governments, getting them their needs, as well as our state roads. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Superintendent Joe D'Amico from the New York State Police.
Thank you, Commissioner. Good morning. Since the start of the storm, and in particular over the last 24 hours, our troopers have responded to a multitude of police calls in addition to the normal crime and emergency responses, abandoned and disabled vehicles on state routes and secondary routes in Erie County. We've been assisting EMS in arriving at locations, removing patients. We've been working with our partners in the local communities with some of the elderly who had issues such as trapped in their homes and unable to clear furnace vents, things like that. We've also helped out on in places where we're concerned about roof collapses with the amount of snow that's coming in. On the thruway system, there's nobody currently on the thruway system that needs to be removed. There's about 45 tractor trailers that have chosen to weather out the storm, if you will, in rest areas. They're in good shape. We'll be spending much of the day reaching out to them to make sure that there's nothing they need or none of that condition changes, and we'll have them on their way as soon as the second part of this storm moves through. We have about 100 troopers that are on duty in the area, and we brought in resources from other troops. We've also teamed up with the National Guard, and we're co-occupying Humvee vehicles. It helps us to extend our reach. I thank the National Guard, as always, for their response, and they're assisting us by closing down roadway ramps so that we could free up emergency vehicles and troopers for other responses. So with that, I turn the podium over to our governor, New York State Governor Andrew Cuomo.
Thank you very much, Superintendent. Me and my team stayed here last night. I was sure that if I stayed the night, I'd get an invitation from the county executive or the mayor for dinner. That invitation was not forthcoming, to my surprise and chagrin. However, we got a lot of good work done. As you heard from DOT Commissioner, the National Guard, and the State Police, this is, I believe, the largest deployment of its kind ever. Literally thousands of people from across the state coming in to help, and hundreds of pieces of equipment coming from as far away as Long Island. A friend of mine was on the thruway between New York and Albany, and he said it looks like a convoy of snow equipment going up. So help got here yesterday. More help is on the way. Tremendous progress made in clearing roads, as the commissioner said. There is no one on the thruway now besides some truckers who are in rest areas who chose to stay on the thruway. We've cleared many of the roads. We are not opening any roads because we still have phase 2 that is on its way, which is another 2 to 3 feet of snow. Until that happens, we don't want to open any roads and create another problem. So let's go through the next snowfall, let's get that cleared, and then we'll reassess. Even after that situation, remember, we then have a melting situation to deal with over the weekend. So we're in a much better position than we were yesterday, but we're still not home. And there are more chapters in this story before it's done. The county executive and the mayor have been extraordinary in their leadership, and their teams worked literally throughout the night. I don't know how many of them are still on their feet, but they've really done yeoman's work, and we owe them all a debt of gratitude. And with that, let me turn it over to County Executive Mark Parlinkars.
Thank you, Governor, and I do truly appreciate the effort that the state has put in and the additional troops that have been brought, not only from General Murphy's National Guard, but the DOT and the Thruway Authority. We did make tremendous progress yesterday and through the night. The snow, of course, passed through the region again. It is my understanding it is now moving north. It is in the Hamburg Lakeview area in Orchard Park at that same angle, so we expect it to return to Cheektowaga, West Seneca very soon. I actually had an opportunity to go home last night. I was picked up this morning, and from my house in North Buffalo to the Emergency Operations Center in Cheektowaga, we witnessed 7 vehicles that were stuck on main streets and trying to get onto main streets and side streets. People, there's a driving ban. There's a reason why there's a driving ban. When your vehicle gets stuck, it then prevents us the opportunity to actually get down and replow those streets. The driving ban in state of emergency is still in effect for Erie County. And I'm asking people to avoid this driving. I talked to Jeff Szymanski, the mayor of Lackawanna, and they're dealing with the same things. Just as soon as they're able to get some of these streets open, people try to get out and drive, and they can't. They get stuck again. So please observe the driving ban. You're only hindering us by preventing us from getting out there and getting to the secondary streets and eventually the residential streets. I recently tweeted this, and I want to say this once again. This is a message to local supervisors and emergency managers. The county has an integrated disaster local access network, the DLAN system, which is our emergency communication system. If you have areas of need, if you have areas of request, you are not to go to the media with the requests. You are not to go and try to call the general number in Erie County government. You are to use the system that you've all been trained on. the DLAN system. Unfortunately, we've had 3 or 4 towns that we hadn't heard from in the last 36 hours. And the reason was they were not using the DLAN system. So requests of need to come into the county for service, whether it was plowing a road or providing of additional equipment, were not coming into the Emergency Operations Center because whether it was emergency managers or others had not actually used the DLAN system. So I ask and I plead with these communities, do not call the county's general number. Do not just call media and say, we're not hearing from the county. While we have people staffed in the county executive's office downtown, most staff is at the EOC. The county government is closed, so calling a particular department at the downtown or other Barnes location will probably not get you an answer. You already utilize the DLAN system. It's been in place for a decade now. It works, and we ask that all emergency managers, supervisors utilize that system. It's the only way we truly can get the information that we need to through all the emergency coordinators at the Emergency Operations Center. Major routes in towns have had the opportunity to be plowed multiple times. Some of them have lanes that are open, but this is for emergency personnel only. I know just driving down Union Road from the Emergency Operations Center in Cheektowaga, we saw people in smaller vehicles who probably had no right to be on the road, spinning their tires, trying to drive down Union. There's a reason why there's a driving ban. We ask that people please observe it, especially now that the snow is coming back into the area and it's expected to fall at rates of 3 inches an hour. With that, I turn it back to the governor.
And I will turn it back to Mayor Byron Brown.
I want to thank the governor for being here to help Buffalo and Western New York with our storm response. In particular, I want to thank the governor for his direct involvement staying here overnight and for bringing the National Guard, the New York State Police, the DOT, and the Thruway to help us in the storm response. We're making progress in South Buffalo, the area of the city that has been hardest hit by this storm. With the state assets that we have, we're able to make progress even more quickly. I also want to thank the men and women in the city's Department of Public Works, the county's Public Works Department, the local municipalities' Public Works Departments, and all of the state people that are out there plowing snow, moving snow, so that we can recover from this storm. We're all anxious to get back out there and help our communities. And I want to thank the media for getting this important information out throughout the community. Thank you very much.